Hello and welcome to another edition of Cat Calls. I am your host, Cat Bine, and this is my show that I do every week on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, relevant to our guest today. Thank you so very much for joining me. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, because I post all my interviews over on YouTube after the fact, then consider this your absolutely big fat invitation to come to Cat Calls Live on twitch.tv/catbine. That's my name. Don't wear it out. All right, everybody, welcome. Big round of applause to today's guest. Everyone give it up for Covex. Yes. Now, I am so very excited to welcome today's guest. He hails from Colorado, and this is my first time chatting with Covex, but listening to his music, it's such an intimate experience. It makes you feel like you're right there in his bedroom, where I'm pretty sure he's going to be taking today's call. His dreamy melodies and heart-on-the-sleeve lyrics are delivered with such ease, and it's comforting just to get lost in his music. He's the guy singing on most of his songs, but he does work with friends, and he got started on the Covex project in 2016. He's released a few EPs, including last year's Learning to Love, which I know he's very proud of, but this year's debut album, A Change of Perspective, that I am very excited for the world to hear. I was just listening to it. It is absolutely beautiful, a stunning work of art. It's got 9 tracks, and from top to bottom, it's the kind of sonic journey that just stops the air around you. It's like sun rays coming through the window and rushing waterfalls of feeling, but it's gentle, but it's got hard moments too, and it's due out later this year on Moving Castle, and that whole crew are friends of the Cat Calls universe. We gotta give a shout out to former Cat Calls guests Hotel Garuda and Slow Magic. Watch those episodes right now on YouTube, and when this is live on YouTube, I'll put little boxes in the corner wherever those go. You guys know how it goes. Now, Covex has begun to tease the full-length LP with some singles, the latest of which is a luscious little vocal house track called Lucky Ones. It features some sweet sounds from singer Olivia, and it was actually written during quarantine. It celebrates the love that warms us, even in and especially during dark times. And if you're having a tough day, maybe this is the hug that you need. I'm going to play the lyric video for Lucky Ones now, and when we come back, we'll have Covex on the line, so don't go anywhere, but do get your questions ready, and let's go!
If you've got someone tonight, don't let go of them. If you want someone for life, take their hand and run. You're the lucky one.
And, ladies and gentlemen, big welcoming round of applause to Covex. Oh, I didn't turn my own volume down. I'm a hypocrite. Covex, how are you doing?
What's going on? So good to be on here.
I am
Thank
so
you.
glad for you to say that, because I feel like the rust is still here, because it's been a couple weeks since I did this, and I am adding your handle as we speak, but I'm very glad that you are enjoying the experience so far.
Make small talk.
Yeah, no one notices, no one knows. And we did it, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, Hudson Rats is here, Cece Palmquist is here, Miss K. Eileen is here. Everyone's very excited. Everyone loves Lucky Ones with Olivia. That's what we were just looking at, and I almost asked you. I love how you've got this theme of you've got this like very I can't think of the name of the Kubrick movie, but it's like the big bar that, you know. Okay, listen.
Oh, 2001?
Thank you. Yes.
Yes.
Is that where it comes from? Because every time I see this visual, either in the younger video or on kind of the single covers, that's what I'm thinking. Is that where it comes from?
Actually, yeah. So a lot of the inspiration did come from 2001, and especially in this new music video that my friend Hudson and I shot last weekend. There's
Hudson Rats?
a lot more Hudson Rats.
Yes.
He's in the chat.
In the chat.
But yeah, for that music video, a lot of inspiration came from 2001 for sure. Just that like monolithic vibe.
Yeah.
Like the white door frame in nature is just so random and obscure. I love it.
It is. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, I want to wait before we dive super deep into the album, but you did name it A Change of Perspective. And I feel in that movie, that thing appears whenever it's time for someone to kind of make the next step evolutionarily speaking. So I guess that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing with this bar, this doorway.
I didn't actually think about that, but that's honestly great to hear. And it ties really well into the album. So yeah, that's great.
That's what I'm here for. I've often said that my greatest talent is pattern recognition, and I think what makes me a good journalist, if I may say so myself, is to draw those little parallels for people that they don't often think of themselves, and that one's a freebie. You can take that with you into future interviews and tell everyone that it was intentional. And
the entire album's based around 2001: Space Odyssey.
Yeah, you're just a young Kubrick.
All right, I'll take it. Thank you for that.
I did read that you feel that your mood is often tied to the cycles of the moon, and I myself am very into moon magic. So, we're in this waning third quarter moon today. How are you feeling?
Feel happy, energetic, good. Yeah. It's weird, like during full moons, I definitely feel worse for some reason. But during like crescent moons, which I didn't really understand until like recently, but my logo is a crescent moon, and I was like, oh wow, that actually plays into a really big part of my life. Like I feel so much better when it's a crescent moon. I don't know if it's related. I don't know if I really fully believe it quite yet, but I'm here for it. I don't know.
More patterns, more ties.
Exactly.
I often hear from artists, though, that they will either write a song or do something such as choose a crescent moon as your logo, and only later does it come to, do you realize what it meant in the first place, or like maybe why you chose something like that? Is that something you can relate to as a songwriter?
Yes, the meaning definitely comes later most of the time, like especially in music. Like I'll write a song and have no idea what I'm writing it about until a week later, a month later, whatever, until I actually have like a strong connection to it. That's not all the time, but it definitely happens a lot for sure, especially with music.
It's interesting, all of this subconscious activity going on. Artists live in the subconscious, I think.
Yes, we do. In the ether.
In the grand open space. Speaking of grand open spaces, you are from Colorado. Are you born and raised?
Yeah, born and raised in Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
I've never actually got to spend any real time in Colorado, although I have been stuck in the Denver airport overnight a couple of times. But I hear that it's gorgeous.
I'm so sorry.
I know, it's really sad.
The Denver airport is not very cool. I mean, it's nice. It's nicer than a lot of other airports, but
that's true. I would
prefer not to stay there for a night.
Yes. I will get a chance to see Denver later this month. I'm going to have a really long layover, but this time during the day, and I can see a friend of mine. But I would love to hear. I know that you're really inspired by nature, and I can only imagine that Boulder is just a gorgeous, stunning place. I want to hear about the adventures you had as a kid among the trees and the mountains. Are you a big outside guy? Like, what has it been like to grow in Colorado?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, like, especially in Boulder, it was like a 10-minute drive to get into the mountains just to, like, immerse yourself in nature, which was, can we swear?
Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. I swear a lot, so.
Same, me too. I have a little disclaimer when you come to my channel that you have to be like, okay, like an adult or something. Not because I'm, discussing adult themes, but I just can't stop myself. There's no natural filter, so please be at ease. Be yourself.
Hell yeah. There you go. Yeah, I mean, the fact that we were 10 minutes outside of just like complete isolation was really, really cool. Definitely my mom's side took us on a lot of hikes growing up. Forcibly so sometimes, they're like, get out of bed, we're going on a hike. I was like, no. I'm going to sleep. But I think it was really worth it, and it made me love nature even more. The fact that she like pushed us to get out of bed and go on these hikes. I like crave it now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of my music definitely comes from nature elements and just like the sereneness of it all and tranquility, that kind of thing. A lot of like my chiller music comes from just being in nature and relaxing, basically, like being away from technology, just like introspection kind of stuff, and a lot of just thinking going on in nature rather than just like constantly on your phone all day long, just like looking for new things to give you satisfaction, that kind of thing. But yeah, long story short, yes, nature is great.
Nature is
Definitely
great.
Inspired by it.
I love the dichotomy of an electronic artist making music about bathing in nature and getting away from technology.
That's
it makes
honestly
sense.
It's honestly not my goal to do that, but like I think it like recharging in the mountains, and like I'm definitely an introverted person, so like I need to get away from things for a while and like recharge. So I think a lot of life is inspired by that in general.
Absolutely. And I think you're doing a fabulous job of capturing those moods in your music for sure. It's not that you don't make like blood pulsing, heart pumping beats, because you do and you can, and you have harder and darker sounds, especially on Change of Perspective. There's a whole sonic journey happening. But I definitely feel that sense of ease and like, oh, I'm comforted by this music in the way that you sometimes can when you're out in the world and hiking. Yeah, so great job.
Thank you.
And hello, Brett Blackman. We love you, Brett Blackman.
Hello, Brett.
Speaking of your parents, though, you mentioned your hard-ass hiking mom. Shout out, mom. I read that your parents were both very avid singers growing up, too, and they may have had a big hand in you becoming a musician, a musical person. You must have had some magical childhood just frolicking through the trees singing with your mom and dad. I might be looking at it like a fairy tale, and maybe it was more like real life, but...
I'd like to think it was that way. That's like a good memory I could replace my childhood.
Another freebie for you.
Yeah, I mean, so both my parents were in music. That's how they met, actually. They met in choir, doing choral stuff.
Fun!
My dad was a big theater geek in high school and college. My mom was as well. So they sang together. They sang in like some like Christmas choirs too. Sometimes they'd go around like knocking on doors, singing whatever they're called.
So sweet, carols.
Carols, that's the word. Yeah, it's kind of cringy stuff looking back at it nowadays. But,
it's not cringy.
But it was so
sweet.
cute. Like the fact that they did it together is very cute.
Did they ever make you go caroling?
Hell no.
They
Maybe
could get
when
you
I was
on
a
the
baby
heights.
and was just completely unaware of what was going on, but I would never do that.
No, we can't get you out there in Boulder caroling this year. You're not ready for it.
Oh my God, no.
But that's sweet. So when did you? Were they always very encouraging of your musical interests when you looked at them and you were like, Mom and Dad, I want to be a musician? Were they like supportive of that? Because I know for a lot of parents that's shocking.
Yeah. I mean, and I've like been doing music stuff for like my whole life. Like I just have been off and on playing a multitude of different instruments from when I was like 6 years old.
Wow.
So,
what instruments? What was your first instrument?
Piano.
Beautiful.
Yeah. When I was 6. Did like 3 years of lessons. I honestly never got good at an instrument. Like I really wish I like sat down and like forced myself, but as a kid, like you just don't understand those things. You just like give up so easily.
Yeah. You're like, I'd rather play video games or sleep.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I played piano for 3 years. I found trumpet when I was in elementary school.
Nice.
And played it through middle school. And then I found choir in middle school, sang in choir all the way from middle school to high school. So I was in it for like 7 years or so. And then I was beatboxing for a while.
I heard you like to beatbox your beats sometimes into your phone when you're getting ideas for songs.
Oh my God, where'd you find that? That's hilarious.
I was digging around. Is it true?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially with like the heavier stuff, I sometimes I'll like make the intro and verse of a song, and then I'll leave like the drop open, and I'll like loop it over and over again, and I'll get on my phone and be like, step out of the room and start like beatboxing an idea or whatever. And I'll sometimes even like move that audio recording back into Ableton and try to replicate it exactly, just because I have this sound in my head.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works. Sometimes it sounds like absolute shit. But other, it gives me inspiration doing that kind of stuff. And I'm glad I know how to beatbox, because it definitely helps with like arranging drums.
Yeah.
I found, like if you know good rhythms, like your music will have good rhythms too.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. You said you're introverted, so I don't know if you're going to go for this, but can I get a little beatbox action? Can we hear what it sounds like?
No. That's my introverted self coming out. No.
I'm amazed. Amy, I trust that you're very good at it, though. I trust.
I honestly haven't done it in so long. I'd feel embarrassed just trying it now. I haven't done it in like a few years, so.
No beatboxing on the full-length album? No beatbox drops there?
No, I've always found it kind of hard to include beatboxing in my songs. It's so hard to like mix it. I'll use it like sometimes as percussion though, like really far in the back. I'll have it like really quiet, but I'll like mess it up so much that you can't even tell what it is. So
Hudson's fucking with you. He said Covex beatbox, command Covex beatbox.
That's the fucking Twitch thing. No.
Okay, he doesn't want to do it, folks. He doesn't want to do it. He's all just gibberish. No, it's fine.
Just gibberish, yeah.
When did you first start experimenting with music production? Because clearly you've had a very musical life, but when did you start feeding it into this DAW mentality?
Yeah, when I was 13, I think.
Nice.
I got Ableton. Yeah, I can go more in depth if you want.
Sure, why not?
I got a whole thing. I got a whole spiel.
Let's hear it. Hit me with that spiel, that elevator pitch. We've got time.
I started with DJing and then found
You started with
Ableton.
DJing as a 13-year-old.
Yeah, I was 13.
Okay, awesome. Why? Who put you onto turntables? Who had turntables?
Yeah, right. I think I was really hooked from like listening to electronic music really early on when I was like 11 and 12. I actually loved that you played some of the Justice stuff, because I was a huge fan of Justice when I was 11 years old. So
okay, amazing. I love to hear that. I'm a giant Justice fan, and I'm glad to hear that too, because I usually play music by the artist before I start the show, but I was like, fuck it. Let's watch a bunch of Gaspar videos. So you weren't offended, and that's great news.
No, I honestly didn't know he had another alias, so I'm freaking stoked to dive into
It just happened. Yeah. Solo album came out on Friday. I think you'll like it. It's very cinematic. It's all inspired by movie soundtracks and things like that from the 70s. Sick. So you have something to explore. But who turned you on? How did you find Justice when you were a wee lad?
My stepsister was like 6 or 7 years older, so she was in the high school phase listening to EDM, going to raves. So she played me like Pretty Lights. She played me like Pretty Lights, Justice, a lot of those artists, and cool
older stepsister.
Super cool. So I was really like, I was the nerd in my hallways in middle school, just like with my skull candies on, blasting Justice.
Love it.
But yeah, I watched a lot of like ultra music festival videos when I was like 12, and I just got really excited by the fact that one person was up on stage, like controlling basically a huge amount of people.
Yeah.
Obviously, my perspective on that has changed a lot since I was 12 years old.
Well, I'm sure actually being the person behind the decks can change that perspective. A change of perspective, if you will.
Exactly.
I love that you said, though, not just one person up on stage controlling the music. You said one person up on stage controlling all those people, which is a really impressive and interesting way to see it. Like, you were like, I'm the puppet master, let's go.
Right. Obviously, like, I had a big ego, and I was like, oh my God, I want to be like famous and huge and like playing to millions
Just this
of
little
people,
quiet kid with your skull candy, like, I'm gonna take over the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's always the ones you least suspect.
Putting that in perspective, looking at myself now, I'm like, oh God, yeah.
No, it's good. It's good.
But yeah, so watched a lot of videos, and then I saved up a lot of money, or not a lot, but it was a lot for like middle school.
Yeah.
You buy some like cheap vinyl turntables and
vinyl turntables, no less.
Yeah.
Good God.
Weird choice, right? 13 years old.
I mean, I'm impressed. You know, there are some out there who would say that you're not a real DJ unless you know how to DJ with vinyl. I'm not one of those sticklers, but it is. Yeah. Did you actually learn how to do it? Can you beat match with vinyl?
It's really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
It's way harder than you would think. Yeah. The people that can do it well is like, that's amazing. It's like playing classical piano, I think. Like just being able to tell exactly what BPM it is, and like it's a big skill for sure. But yeah, my middle school teacher actually taught me. He came over to my house like every month to teach me how to DJ.
That is so cool.
But it was so cool.
He was probably just so excited that like a kid wanted to learn, you know? He's probably like, I gotta teach this, I gotta reach these kids.
I think after like the fourth time too, he came over, he was like, all right, I'm done, like, but I'm switching to CDJs. I'm gonna give you my entire record collection.
Wow.
So he gave me like a stack of vinyl that was like this big, and like I still have it in my closet too. It's like old like lounge music. Like it's not stuff you'd play at a show by any means, but it was like really good to practice on, and yeah.
That is grateful. So cool. Shout out that teacher.
Yeah, shout out Justin.
Shout out Justin, Mr. Justin coming through. Might be a really great like place to pull some samples from, though. Maybe some weird loungy vinyl.
To my right, to your left, I don't know what we're looking at here, but to the right, I have a turntable, and I've been digging through a lot of them recently and just sampling a lot of what I can find, and it's cool. It's honestly really fun.
Are you even? I don't know if you can legally say what you've been playing. Pretend you were going to sample. What are some of the records that you've been getting inspiration from? Let's say.
I couldn't even tell you because they're so obscure and like unheard of. I could look at the album cover and be like, that's the one that I sampled, but none of it's on the album. It's all like forthcoming stuff.
I did hear
it's a cool like creative thing to do, just to like switch it up.
Yeah. I want to take a quick second to say hello, 808's Jake. Thank you so much for resubscribing, and Mustache Florida. So good to see you. So good to see the friends. Thank you for joining us. I didn't want to leave anyone out. But I did hear that you're already working on new music. That was something I was going to ask you about after we kind of chat about the album. But no, I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. I would love to hear when you found the sound that is Covex, because I think before you did spend some time making some pretty heavy bass-centric music, if I'm not wrong, which makes sense. Colorado loves its bass music. But when did you stumble on the sound that felt right to you, and what did it feel like when you kind of found it?
Yeah, I think a big like pivotal moment for me, and I don't think I've told anyone this just because I think it's a little bit cringy, but it's honestly really cool, and it was really, really cool to be a part of it. But I went to this thing called Grammy Camp.
Grammy Camp? Like as in the
in LA.
Grammys?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It was cool. It was really cool. I don't know why I think it's cringy. It was honestly like one of the cooler things I could have done in high
probably
school.
just because it feels very personal to you, you know? And so you're like, it
Maybe.
must be cringy.
I don't know. But yeah, after I think that was like a week long. Sounds about right. But after that, we were just listening to a lot of different music. Yeah, I guess I got an inside look at like the more melodic stuff that I really enjoyed that I didn't really know I enjoyed that much until I was there. And when I came back, I just decided, like, I told my bass music friend, who's actually huge right now. He's like fucking killing it. It's really cool.
Wait, what's his name?
His name is Frequent. He's not like huge, but he's really, really well respected in like the bass community.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm writing it down.
Honestly, it's crazy that I know him. Like, so many people are total fanboys. But it's
love
awesome.
when our
It's
friends
really cool.
win.
But yeah, I came back and I told him, I was like, look, man, I think I'm gonna switch lanes.
You confessed.
Yeah. He was supportive though. And yeah, I just started writing more melodic driven music. I worked a lot with my high school friend named Anna, and yeah, we wrote a lot of music together, which helped my more melodic music come to life. And then yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like, I lost interest in the bass music because it took so long to like do one sound.
Yeah.
I hated that. I hated the sound design process. Like, I just wanted to feel something when I was writing music. I didn't want to like spend 4 hours on 1 second of audio. You know?
Yeah, totally.
But some people love it, and I'm here for it. And it makes music sound so dope if you do spend that much time on it. If you're in the bass music world, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to feel something. I wanted more emotion in my music, and I just decided to like start doing that. Yeah.
Well, mission accomplished, as I said before. Right out of the gate, the Covex project really honed in on just this like sea of emotion, this like watery vibe. It's very well done, and I'm so excited. We might as well just start talking about the album, because I was listening to it today all the way through, and you did such a stunning job.
Thank you.
You can tell that it is kind of like, well, at least I can tell. I think that it sounds like a next step for you. It's got all of the signature kind of feelings of the music that you've done before, but it sounds just like a little extra juicy. And I think that a debut album is always a really huge moment in an artist's career. Some people don't ever really release an album, especially in this electronic music world. But to me, saying that something is your debut album is really like saying, hi, this is me, this is what I'm about. When did you know that these collection of songs you were working on was going to be an album? Was it intentional? Was it something that you kind of discovered along the way? How did a change of perspective come to be?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was written last year during like quarantine.
Wow,
I'm sure
okay. A
lot of other musicians probably wrote a lot of music as well. Some people didn't, which is totally fine.
Yep.
But Yeah, I didn't think about writing an album until probably like July of last year.
Wow.
I realized that I had a lot of music though that I was writing in the same time period that all felt very connected. And I, from my girlfriend Cece, who's in the chat as well,
Cece! Oh, hi, Cece.
she kind of made me realize that a lot of the music did have like similarities with the perspective thing. And yeah, I mean, backtracking.
It's
Maybe
fine.
my thoughts collected. Sorry.
It's no worries at
Using
all. This is off the
brain
cuff.
farts.
You don't have to. This is low pressure environment.
I know. I'm just
Cece's here.
trying to
You're just
remember
talking to
where I was
Cece.
going. A train just like passed through. It's like.
No worries. Well, we were talking about
so-
how this was a COVID
okay.
project for you, which is crazy to me. So you just started working on all these songs in quarantine. I was going to ask you, how did you get through it? And it sounds like this is it. This is what kept you sane, maybe. That and Cece.
Yes, it is for sure. So yeah, I mean, I started the first track off this album, like the title, or not the title track, the very first song off the album. I started in January of
Smile.
2020.
That's what it's called.
Yes.
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 I was trying to remember.
So, yeah, I mean, I started that really early on just because I wanted something to play out at shows. And I wanted it to be like the show opener.
Oh, cool.
So I just decided to keep it on the album because it fit the sound selection that I was going with the rest of the tracks as well. And that honestly, like a lot of the sounds from that one song carried over to like Younger and Lucky Ones and To Be Alone, all those songs. So I took a lot of influence just from that one song and started writing other stuff with it.
That's so cool.
But it wasn't, sorry, go for it.
That's just so cool. I love to hear that. I mean, I'm a fan of conceptual art and conceptual music, and whether or not you meant it, I love the idea that this is like the seed from where all the other stuff comes from. And now when I listen to it, I'm going to be listening like, okay, what sound came from Smile that I'm hearing in
I think
Younger?
you'll be able to hear. It's like a pretty big part of
so
a lot of the
cool.
songs off the album. But yeah, I think like in July of 2020, I went on a camping trip and just like had a moment to myself for an hour. And I just sat down and was like, all right, I'm going to make an album. Like it's time. I really need to do this. Even though I'm still young, I just felt like there was this thing hanging around me. Like I've done EPs, I've done singles. Like I think it's time for an album.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had like 7 tracks at that time. And then from the span of like July to this January, last January 2021, I cranked out like 10 or 12 more.
Wow.
And just pick and choose which ones actually fit on the record. And yeah, I mean, they all tie together very well, I think.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So I just tried to select the ones that all sounded pretty stylistically similar and had a lot of meaning to it as well. And there were a lot of songs on there that like I wrote with the intention of writing about a specific emotion and all that stuff. So,
well, I think this is a good moment for us to play Younger, which is another single from the album. You already mentioned it a couple of times. But before I play the video, what is the story behind Younger? What is the very specific moment here?
This was one of like the first songs or the second song after Smile.
Oh, wow. We're going in order.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah. So I guess the story, I was in Cece's parents' guest bed because I needed to basically live with her in order to be able to see her during quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
Because she lived with her parents, so I was like, all right, I can't be back and forth with my other roommates. So I ended up staying at her parents' house for a few months. Just thank God it actually worked.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's cool of the parents to be like, sure, but you're going to be in the guest room.
And they let me like make music too, which was so cool.
That is awesome.
So a lot of this music was written up there. Yeah, I mean, this song went through a lot of different versions and renditions until it came to be this one. This was the longest song that I spent the longest on this song for the entire album. Took me like 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
Crazy.
What was it that was
long.
taking a while? Was there something you were stuck on that you had to have a breakthrough with, or what was going on?
Yeah, so I made like the intro and verse of the song first, and I think I went on to the first chorus drop thing. And I had like 5 different versions of that one drop.
Wow.
And then had like 5 different versions of the second drop as well. So I was just like going back and forth, just like second guessing myself. But I think the one that I stuck with is the best one that I could have done. So I'm happy about it.
Okay, well, let's listen to it. Let us know in the chat if you think he picked the right one. Not that we can hear the alternatives. No, you did a great job. And the video is really, really cool. It's fan submitted footage, as you'll see. And when we come back, we'll chat about that too. It's pretty, your fans are very impressive. All that incredible bean footage. No, all that incredible. Yes, cinematic is the right word, Hudson. So you might have the most adventurous fans that there are. When you made the call for the footage, were you like, send me footage of you while you're out in the world exploring, or did that just kind of happen that way?
Yeah, I mean, I just asked people to submit nature footage.
Oh,
just
nice.
Left it pretty open-ended. Yeah, it's honestly like crazy how many dope places people have gone. Like the footage was super cool.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it must have been so
really
fun to like look through that.
It was a lot of fun, and I edited it myself too, so it was kind of fun to just like, you know, splice up the different parts where I thought matched, and like it was really fun. I liked doing that project a lot.
Is that something that you do often, or was that like a new adventure for you to get into video editing?
I've actually worked at an editing job for like 3 years.
Oh, wow.
I quit like a couple of years ago, but I was doing that for like 3 years, just like part-time work.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was cool. So I got like the Premiere skill set, and
nice.
I really like editing my own stuff where I can. I'm definitely not the best. I leave that to Hudson.
Yeah. I was going to say, I wonder if did Hudson put that video together, but no, they did not.
Yeah. He put together the music video that we just worked on over the weekend, and it's freaking dope.
I'm so excited. Can you say what it's for? Is it for Lucky Ones?
No. I'm not going to say.
It's a secret. But it's really cool.
It is super cool. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I too, this show, Cat Calls, is my quarantine project that I started because I was inside and everyone was on Twitch. And so I was like, hey, I could do that too. And video editing has been the fun part as well. I'm really even more proud now that you liked my intro because I made it myself.
It's such a funny intro. It's like so like 80s. It's great.
You get it. You get it. I would love to hear some more about this album, though. Are there other songs that you would like to share the story behind? I know that you put so much of yourself into each of these songs, so I want to make sure that you have some space to to share those stories. And some artists I know are really like, oh, I want the music to speak for itself. But if you feel inclined to share any of the stories, I'd love to hear them. Did you just pause, or are you thinking deeply? Okay, there you are.
Oh no, there we go. Was I frozen?
For a second, I was like, oh, he decided he would not like to answer that question.
I just got the thing that says your internet is unstable.
Oh no, go to therapy. No, I'm sorry.
Well, funny you say that. But yeah, a lot of this, I don't want to go into too much detail about each song, but I can give you like a rough idea of like the full album.
Yeah.
So a lot of it like came from, the reason it's called A Change of Perspective is like, because during this last year, as I'm sure a lot of other people went through, it's just like really, really low lows and some highs. But a lot of like, I definitely experienced a lot of pain, which was not like, I wasn't ready for that, I guess.
Yeah.
So a lot of like introspection happened. I went to therapy a lot, and had a lot of like really big conversations with people in my life, loved ones, whatever. So I think this album was kind of like a message to myself, almost like it's just a reminder to think like more positively about things and to shift my perspective when I'm thinking in ways that I know are toxic to me, basically.
Yeah.
So in the album, there's really happy highs and then there's really low lows. Like there's some really dark shit in there.
Yeah.
Which I really love making. Like some people may think I just write like happy stuff, but like I still really, really love writing dark music. Just like going back to my roots and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's really just like a culmination of emotion that I went through last year. And if people can relate to those feelings, then that is amazing. And that is exactly what I'm trying to do with my music. But yeah, I guess that's all I'll say right now. Definitely. Yeah.
Well, I think that's beautifully said and is probably the most important message to get out, right? Like you can keep the personal stories behind each song to yourself, but I think to share with everyone that when you are experiencing those moments of self-doubt or self-sabotage or just feeling really alone, there is an opportunity for you to change your perspective if you can find it, and maybe this album and the songs on it can be a helping hand to people. I hope so. I know that it's not out yet, and so like we can't talk about all these songs. Oh, the Casey Michael, glad to see you here. Dropped a whole bunch of hearts in the chat for that wholesome and very real message. But I really like To Be Alone. I know that one's not out yet, but it's got this like great glitchy garage, like crunchy ballad vibe. It is out. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, good. Then I'm glad I was not sure because I was like, oh, I'm listening to it. Whoopsies. All right. Well, that one is very fucking cool. I like that one. And I also really like Regret. And I remember when I was listening to it, I think it was that one that I was like, I hear some Justice vibes in it. So it's even cooler now to know that you're like an OG Justice fan. Maybe that was not an accident.
Oh, yeah. No. Definitely like pulled from the old like mid-tempo roots for that song. Yeah.
It's very, very good. You really, it makes sense to hear that was your intention because you really did a great job of creating highs, lows, everything in between. Oh my God. What's the song? Negative Space. You got all these nice like vinyl pops and cracks and just so good. And now I know that you started as a vinyl DJ. It's all making sense. You have an intimate relationship with vinyl. It's so good. Yeah. And the title track is fabulous too. I'd love to hear how you feel you pushed yourself as a producer or creatively as an artist on this album? What lesson are you taking away? What did you learn about yourself in this process, other than, of course, all of the work you did in therapy and things like that, but as an artist?
Yeah, I mean, for this being like my first album, I learned a lot about like the creation process, and I feel way more comfortable writing another album after this, just because like I understand the ins and outs now. But it was so fucking hard like doing this, and I was beating my head into my table like every day, just like trying to finish songs. But that being said, I pushed myself really, really hard, and I'm really glad I did, because without doing that, I don't think these songs would have like as much detail or like the emotion that they needed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess for my next album, like I totally have like a better understanding of how I should start and like the process of it, because I was just going back and forth like so much, like, should this be an album? Like, should this be an EP? Like so many different thoughts. But,
yeah. Well, and the industry today, it doesn't make making an album easy for you either. It's like so many people are like, you should just release singles nonstop, or like, who's going to listen to an album anymore? Like, kudos to you for sticking with it and seeing the project all the way through to the end. And I know I mean, I can only imagine how good it's going to feel when it's finally out there in the world, and just like,
thank you.
Yay! I know it's
yeah,
not for a
I
while,
wanted
but
something to like a full body of work. I don't really care if it does really that well. Like, hell yeah, if it does super well, like that's great. But I just wanted something that people could listen to from front to back that basically tells my story, and people can get a gist of like my sound moving forward, because this is definitely like it for a while, I'd say.
Yeah.
So
you're in the zone. You found it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about okay, are you thinking about performing this music live? Are you going to do a live experience with it? I saw that you were asking people today on Instagram whether they like to see artists play their own originals only, or if they like to see a mix of originals and other stuff. What are you feeling? What can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, I have some shows coming up.
Like Red Rocks!
A lot of Red Rocks with Big Gigantic in
Legends!
September. That'll be super fun. Yeah. Yeah, I have some other shows too. I can't announce quite yet. I'm sure they'll be announced by the time this video is out. But who knows? Yeah, I'm thinking about, yeah, that's why I'm asking people like what they prefer. Just because as a musician, I really respect people like Odessa, Rufus that play all original.
Mm-hmm.
But then as like a first time listener, like I'm still a small artist. I'm wondering if people would be hooked if I just played original music, or if I should play other people's stuff as well.
It's interesting.
Like the edits of other people's songs. So I'm kind of going back and forth. I think I'm slowly figuring it out and getting this set dialed. But there will be like a big album show for sure. And it may or may not be in Colorado. But I'm really excited for that. I've been planning it before COVID.
Wow.
COVID just wrecked me. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to do that and actually make it a thing again.
That's so exciting. Miss K. Eileen is going, she seems to think she knows a secret, or maybe she's wondering. I don't know. That's so exciting, though. With the Red Rocks show, have you ever played Red Rocks before? Is this going to be your first time?
First time.
That seems crazy and exciting. Have you been to a lot of shows at Red Rocks? Like as a viewer?
So many. I actually went to the very first Rowdy Town, which is Big Gigantic show, when I was like 13.
Oh my God!
Now doing this is like full circle moment. I was even in their music video.
Shut up! What music video?
It was like the Road to Rowdy Town thing that they did.
Oh my God.
I know, it's hilarious. Like full circle shit.
Writing down that we all need to go watch The Road to Rowdy Town and spot us a little
Oh my God,
13-year-old
I look
Covex.
so different. It's insane how different I look. But go for it. You'll see.
Man, that's so cool. Did you tell them that? Do they know that about you?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, and Mustache Florida has a question. When it comes to music production, what's your advice when you lose interest in a track you're creating? Do you scrap it or do you just push through and finish it?
That's an interesting question because I still am finding ways to complete tracks and get through them, I guess. Because like when you write a song, like the very first day is the most like critical point when you're really inspired. Like I really try to write the entire song that day, like arrange the entire thing.
Wow.
Doesn't have to be perfect sound design wise, but like get the song done. And I've been really, really trying to do that recently just because it helps so much. But when I don't do that and lose inspiration, I normally go back into the project and just mess around with one sound and like do some weird shit. Just like experiment like a lot. Do something that you would have normally never done on a song and just try something different. That's the only thing that's going to make you different as an artist as well. If you do something that you're not used to doing, like don't do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, that's good advice for anything really, I think. And that was a good question. I feel like a lot of people who I know who mess around with production, that is like that's the difference maker. It's like, can you finish the song, or are you gonna have like 200 ideas in a folder that never see the light of day? And then like, if you finish the song, will you share it? Will you show it to people? Like, it's scary.
Yeah, I think like a general rule of thumb for me is like I still have like 16 bar loops. Like I have like 100 of them running around, like that I'm never going to finish. But my rule of thumb is like, if I'm not feeling it in like the first 30 minutes and I'm just like jamming it, like, you know, just like forcing it, then I should stop. But if I'm like inspired after that 1 hour mark, whatever, 30 minutes, then I just need to crank. Like I need to go, like write the entire thing in that moment.
Are you a person who like treats music production like it's a job and you're like, okay, I get up, I do this thing at this time, I sit down at the desk and I start messing around with music? Or are you a person who's like, when it strikes me, I have to go and I have to do it, but when it's not striking me, I'm not ready?
Yeah, I think it really depends. Some days I'm like, all right, I gotta write music, like, because it honestly, like, it helps my mental health so much when I'm writing music. Like I do not feel 100% unless I'm writing stuff all the time. Yeah. So now that I've noticed that, I like kind of force myself to sit down and do it and treat it like work sometimes. But when you strike that gold and you like find that inspiration that one day, it's like, it's all worth it. And your work has paid off basically in that moment.
Yeah, I relate to that too. I am very fortunate because I get to write for a living now. And so I don't run into this feeling, but when I was younger, I was, you know, either I was journaling or I was just writing things creatively, whatever. But if I went a long time or like a week or just a period of days without writing anything, I started to feel it. It was like this weird, like pulling, like, I don't know how to exactly describe it, but it makes me think of what you were saying. Like it's a compulsion almost. It's like, if I don't do this, then I'm not okay. You're
not like fulfilling yourself, I guess. Like as creative people, like you have to create. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that's like gonna make you survive, basically. Like this is your thing. Like this is your life. Like if you are a creator, like you gotta just keep doing it.
And everyone else too. I feel like even if you don't think of yourself as a creative person or an artist or whatever, like we all are creative and we all want to be creative deep down. And if you're having a hard day, like just find the thing that feels kind of good, like paint something, like doodle something, like write a dumb haiku or something. I always feel like people get a nice, like, tickle out of making something, you know?
Even if it's like the worst thing you've made to your eye, like it's fun. Like just do something fun. Like that's all it is. But don't get me wrong, I really enjoy watching TV and just binging sometimes. So like, you know.
What are you binging right now? What's got your attention right now?
This show called Snowfall on Hulu.
Ooh.
So good.
Okay.
It's honestly like one of the better shows I've ever seen.
What's it about? Give me the quick short teaser pitch, not the whole story, but
yeah. I think it's set in like the 80s, but it's about the cocaine industry. And
I was just gonna say, oh my god, it's 80s. You know what kind of snow they're talking about?
Yes, exactly. It's about the cocaine industry and how the government plays a huge role in it, but it follows 3 different storylines the entire time, and they all end up like connecting in some really cool way.
Oh,
it's really, really, really good.
Okay, definitely interest piqued. Yeah. Definitely coming from South Florida myself, the 80s and the cocaine industry, it always makes me feel like I'm back at home. Okay, I want to hear about the music that you are working on now. Are you already working on things that you think will be on album number 2? Are you just having fun? You're feeling inspired? You're ready to keep at it? Is there anything you can tell us about what you're pushing yourself with now, without giving too much away?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm letting myself take a break mentally and not trying to force myself to write songs. Like I'm just, as I said, like I have a shitload of just like 16-bar loops laying around right now, and I'll just like make one, and if it doesn't hit me, then it doesn't hit me, and I'll just live with it. Like I'm not gonna force it. I'm just trying to have fun as much as I can. But yeah, as far as like doing stuff differently, I'm using a lot of the turntable, and like there's a record store like a few blocks away from my house, and they have this like dollar crate, so I can just like come by and pick up 20 records one day.
Love dollar crates, man. Oh yeah,
it's so much fun.
It is.
It's just you find the most random shit in there. It's so fun.
And you just pick weird covers, and you're like, "What the fuck is that?" Like, let's go.
That might be cool. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's been really fun. I definitely have a few songs that I've been working on that I think would fit really well on a project. But I'm not going to force it. Like I'm not necessarily thinking about album 2 yet.
You don't have to. Album 1's not even out yet.
I know, right?
But it's crazy. I know that's how it works for you guys. It's like, oh my gosh, by the time album 1 comes out, you made it a year ago and you're already working on it. So many times I've talked to producers and I'm like, yeah, what are you excited about? And they're like, honestly, the shit I'm working on now.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't wait for everyone to hear it.
Yeah. No, it's weird, but it's also really cool. Like I definitely have been sitting on this album for a little while, but I still have like a very strong emotional connection to it, and I'm still just extremely excited to get it out. And I think a lot of people will relate.
I'm really excited for everyone to hear it as well, because the experience I have listening to it it's beautiful, and I'm excited to see everyone else have that experience too. And I definitely want to try to catch you at one of your shows out and about. Yes. If you come to the Bay Area, I'm here. Maybe I'll come to Colorado. But before we go, you said on Twitter that you were going to talk about your dog. So I want you to have that space to talk about your dog. Is it Maya? Is Maya your dog?
She might be at the door. I can try to let her in, but she might not be. Otherwise, I have to call for her name. But yes, I just got her in April.
Oh, that's very recent.
Yeah, I actually volunteered at the dog shelter for a while in Denver. I was like walking dogs once a week. Just because
that's nice.
I wanted something to do, and I needed like my dog fix. I just love the energy dogs give me. I just stumbled upon her one day when I was volunteering. I was like, oh God. Oh God. Like,
you're like, oh
I can't leave without her. I told myself I wouldn't get a dog when I was working there, but
Yeah, that was dangerous.
yes, it was. Yeah, one of the like better decisions I've made though, for sure.
Aww.
She's amazing. She's just so cute and friendly, and definitely improves my life a lot.
I bet she feels the same.
Give me chicken treats. She'll love anyone.
Okay, and also on the way out, we're going to watch the video for I Won't Run Away, which came from your 2020 EP, Learning to Love, correct?
Yeah.
Did you get all the details right? And why did you choose this one?
You asked for another music video.
That's fair. But I said it was
honestly,
up to you.
I like this song a lot still. I still think like it's one of my better songs I've made, and I still hope it does better than it is right now. Like I want more people to listen to it basically, because I still love it, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, do you feel is it spiritually connected to a change of perspective at all? Do you sense any similarities there?
A little bit. It's a different feeling than the other songs on a change of perspective, but it's definitely still like a lighthearted, like happy song, and it's different sound selection, all that stuff. But I think it's got the same happy vibe, I'd say.
And it's worth listening to, god damn it. So we're gonna watch it. Well, Covex, thank you so very much for joining me here today. It was wonderful to chat with you. You've got a vision, and you're just at the beginning of really unfolding the whole universe within, I'm sure. And congratulations on your debut album.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this.
Yay! Thank you so much for coming. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. You have a great rest of your day, okay? Go get Maya. Go get her some chicken treats.
I will. Thank you.
Bye.